Thank you very much. Okay, so last one before lunch. Yukon Metals. It's copper, gold, and lead, silver, zinc explorer, working in Yukon, Canada. 3 main projects, Birch, Star River, and the AZ properties. They have about 102 million shares outstanding on a fully diluted basis and a market cap of about 40 million. They trade on the CSE under the symbol YMC and in Frankfurt under E77O or 0. I'd like to welcome President and CEO Rory Quinn. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming to learn a little bit about Yukon Metals. I'm going to take you briefly through the project and how we mean to take them forward. I will be making some forward-looking statements, so please be aware of that. So Yukon Metals is the fruit of over 30 years of prospecting by the Birdall family. The Birdall family are legendary prospectors in the Yukon, and we're behind Snowline Gold, which you may be familiar with. Snowline have gone in 3.5 short years from being a $30 million market cap company to roughly $900 million market cap company today, obviously it being tremendously successful. We are in our first year of development here. We listed on June the 3rd. So we've worked through our first season, and we'll be advancing towards meaningful drilling next year. So as the gentleman said, we are listed on Frankfurt, and we translate every news release that we put out into German. Just quickly take you through our board. We have a strong board. Pat Burke on the left, he was former head of capital markets at Canaccord for many decades. Darryl Clark is a PhD level geologist. Dan Vickerman is an investment banker from London. Helena Kika is a wonderful exploration geologist, or VPX, and she's overseen 3 major programs this season very effectively. My background prior to this is my 3rd CEO role, but prior to taking on CEO roles, I was with Wheaton Precious Metals for 7 years, as we did about $6 billion worth of business, mostly in copper, gold, and silver, lead, zinc, which is what we're focused on here at Yukon Metals. And I should say that's the really big differentiator between Snowline and us is Snowline. It was really the primary gold assets in the Yukon in the Birdall family portfolio, where the assets that we're focused on are predominantly copper, gold, and silver, lead, zinc. Jim Coates is actually with me here, so if you see him around, I would encourage you to say hello. He's an exploration specialist, and he's Yukon born and raised, so he's a Yukoner. So this is a busy map, so it's hard to take you through it in any very closely, but Nut is in the north. That is there's many First Nations in the Yukon. The NND is the territory that Snowline is in, and there was a recent a bit of difficulty with the NND relative to Victoria Gold and the slide that they had. We got some good news, I just saw it this morning, that the NND First Nation are already now permitting assets again. They took 2 months off and said, we have 17 assets, of which 5 we're interested in, very interested in. Nut was probably ranked 7th or 8th on our portfolio. But when we went to permit Nut with them, we've already got 5 assets permitted. They said, give us 2 months. They didn't say no, they said, give us 2 months. And then today, we've already got notice that they're ready to receive our application. So I think things have gotten a lot better very quickly in the Yukon, which is certainly good for Snowline as well. So I'll take you briefly through a few assets here in the interest of time. Birch was, first of all, explored as an epithermal gold system. It was owned by Ryan Gold, as you might know that name, Sean Ryan. We were really focused on the northern part there. You can see it at the top. And that's where we saw this, like I said, a pretty a good gold in soil anomaly. We didn't receive the certificates for that, and so it was incumbent on us to do our own work. But we also saw here a copper gold porphyry potential, not just an epithermal gold potential. So we did a comprehensive soil program here, and what we end up demonstrating, you can see on your left there, is a 1,400 meter long gold and copper in soil anomaly. And so we saw gold there in soils of up to 0.99 grams per ton gold. So almost a gram per ton gold in soils. There are places in Canada and elsewhere that mine 1 gram per ton gold. And we're seeing that in soils over 1,400 meters. You can see on the right too, I hope you can see the writing as well. There's limited, most of this is overburden. There's not that much outcropping, but what limited outcropping there was, we saw some very high-grade rocks. So here you can see that rock there on the right, that runs 14.1 grams per ton gold. So we're seeing this really big, concise, well-demonstrated gold and copper in soil anomaly supported by surface rock samples and outcroppings. And you can see here, it's, again, I don't have a pointer, but the left is the copper in soil anomaly, and on the right is the gold. And so looking for a copper gold porphyry, this is what you'd see some gold relatively close to surface, that kind of epithermal gold. The copper that you see there, again, that's 1,400 meters wide, so there's considerable size. And then on the right here, you'll see that's molybdenum. So really a lot of the elements that you would look for when you're wanting to develop a copper gold porphyry target. And on the left there, that picture, we saw multiple samples of 2.4% copper. So what we've developed at Birch is a prospect of scale, size, and grade. And so we will, into next season, we're already looking at areas where we can build a 50-person camp. We've already begun the permitting process, and we will have a substantial drill program at Birch next season. Moving on to Star River, this one is probably the one that's moved the needle and gotten the most amount of attention from the market. And you can see the highlights. Those are some of the reasons why. Bonanza grade highlights. So key with Star River is there's a road that goes all the way through it, and that's an all-weather road. It's plowed by the government year-round, so there's the potential at Star River to explore and drill year-round, which will be key. But as you can see on the right there, those are some bonanza grade silver highlights. Over 10,000 gram per ton silver. Now that's an anomaly. That was anomalous. But what we did see, I would say the most common sample that we had through really substantial prospecting was in and around 1,000 gram per ton silver. So just over 1,000 gram per ton silver, just under 1,000 gram per ton silver. And that rock there, that's galena, and you see fine-grained silver in there. That's very similar to what you see at Keno Hill, if you're familiar with that. And they mined 1,000 gram per ton silver material over many decades. So we approached it as a silver opportunity, and talking to someone like Quentin Henney, who's from Crescat, he thought it could be a Keno Hill analog. But subsequently, we've also found bonanza grade gold. And so again, 101 grams per ton gold. That is, again, obviously anomalous, but we've also seen 9 grams per ton, 7 grams per ton, 6 grams per ton, and meaningful copper and zinc as well. But I mean, where we thought perhaps this was a base metal opportunity with precious metal credits, it's actually looks very much like a precious metal project opportunity with base metal credits. And importantly, the maps, it's probably hard to see, but importantly, these samples, they're not from one location or two locations. They're from all over this property, hundreds of meters apart. And we actually see where I took you through here, that is galena that houses the silver. This is highly oxidized. That picture of the rock is highly oxidized arsenopyrite. It's very crumbly to the hand. So old-time prospectors and miners were actually, they were mining this material. Because it's soft, you could mine it with pretty primitive, basic equipment. And so you'll see holes in the hills and the mountains where they were drifting in and digging into the mountain to mine this. And we see both of these rocks, this galena and this arsenopyrite occur together in multiple areas. I have pictures where they overlap each other. And this is a bit complex here as far as geophysics, but we ran some electromagnetic in this area. All this to say is we have some very high readings that confirm. So in addition to all of the sampling that we've seen, these big electromagnetic signals that we've gotten that are, I mean, essentially, I think, white hot drill targets now for us. Those overlap very well with the sampling that we've done. So we will have a very meaningful drill program here. I'd suggest 2 drills running all season, and again, with the potential to continue drilling through winter. Lastly, I'll take you through AZ. AZ is quite a large property. It actually takes 20 minutes to fly over it. We're seeing some very interesting material there. We will have a drill program at AZ as well. We received our permit last year. We'll update it for this coming year. Seeing a lot of, you can see the rock in the top right, that is green stained malachite, which is exactly the type of material you'd want to find. Below that, you can see what we call the Chair Mountain. And that is what you call a kill zone. That there's so much metal in the rock that nothing can grow on it. So that's why it's bald there, is that there's just so much, it's so metallic that it's toxic for anything that would otherwise grow. So that's it as far as the assets. So we raised $15 million in June. So it's a very new company. Keith Neumeyer helped put the company together, just like he did with Snowline. He's been very valuable. He's our second biggest shareholder at just under 10%, with the Birdalls being our biggest shareholder at 25 million shares, so 28%. Commodity Capital, that's Tobias Treader, and his group own 5%. Crescat, that's Quentin Henney and that group, and then a lot of high net worth, Haywood, some Canaccord, a lot of high net worth money. So we still have $9 million. Of the $15 million we raised, $2 million went to the Birdalls as part of the transaction. About $1 million went into closing fees, lawyers' fees, those sort of listing fees. And then so we were left with about $12 million to start the season. So I would say we probably put $2.5 million into the field, maybe $500,000 in G&A, leaving us with $9 million. So we're in a position next year we can do a really meaningful program. We don't need to raise money. If the market wants to be supportive and wants us to get extra aggressive with the properties, we can do that. But I think we're in a very good situation. With that, I'm open for questions.
Any questions out here? Okay, no. I guess I got one. When it comes to like the Star River,
yeah,
you got so many different metals there that it's kind of crazy. So how do you go about drilling something like that? Do you go after the gold first? Do you go after like the zinc? Like what would get the market interested, and or what will get your geologists interested?
Well, the geologists were very interested with the 101 gram per ton gold material, right? I mean, I think we were already pretty excited, but there was a lot of high-fiving there. And we actually were able to pull in all of the geological team from Victoria Gold because that was an unfortunate event that happened there. But our VP of exploration worked with Victoria Gold for 13 years. So after they had to lay off their staff, we just picked up all of their really best young geological talent. So we had 5, 6, 7 geologists in the field at any one time. To answer your question, though, I think we would go after it all. So the silver occurs with the lead and zinc, right? So that is one rock type that you're seeing, that galena. And then the other rock type that we're seeing, which is that kind of crumbly, brown, ready material, that's your highly oxidized arsenopyrite. And so we would drill both of those. And then you're going to look at where you found these really high-grade samples where they outcropped, and then where you have that overlapping with these really high electromagnetic readings that we got. Those are your drill targets.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Great.
Oh, you got one.
Was there?
Sorry? It's early for that, right? I mean, yeah, you like to see how oxidized the arsenopyrite is, so yeah. Thank you, yep.
Thanks. I think we got lunch now.